Hi everyone, Kyle here with Black Lion Audio, and today's topic is how to add outboard microphone preamplifiers to your existing studio setup and audio interface through utilizing the Revolution EXP's ADAT inputs and outputs. So the Revolution EXP is an ADAT expander which adds 8 ins and outputs to your current audio interface that has ADAT connections with very high quality conversion as well as a very high quality word clock with our patented macro MMC technology built into it. So it not only expands the inputs and outputs of your studio, but it also improves the quality and the performance of your existing gear. So if you've ever tried to connect any outboard preamps to your setup, you might have been in a situation where you're plugging these preamps into the existing preamps of your audio interface. Well, it's really best practice to bypass those built-in preamplifiers when wanting to utilize some outboard preamps. And the EXP, as I mentioned, is something really useful we can use to get around those preamps and add in all the audio through ADAT. So let me go grab an audio interface and I'll show you all how to set it up. All right, so we've gone ahead and grabbed our Black Lion modded Apollo interface. If you'd like to learn more about all the modifications that we offer, you can go to our website, blacklionaudio.com, for more information. But moving forward, I've gone ahead and connected power to all of our devices. I've turned on the Apollo and connected it to my MacBook. And now before we turn on the expander, we're going to make all of the necessary connections needed to do what we need to do. So first things first is we'll make our ADAT connection. So since we're sending audio from the preamps to the expander and then into our Apollo to get to our DAW, we'll go ahead and grab one ADAT cable and go from the ADAT out one of the expander into the ADAT input one of the Apollo. And now that our ADAT connection is made, we will now go ahead and connect our BNC word clock cable to the word clock output of the expander and connect the other end to the word clock input of the Apollo. And remember, anytime that you are making a digital connection between audio devices, they need to be clocked to a common source. So having that high quality word clock in the expander is very handy. So now that we have our word clock and ADAT connections connected, we'll go ahead and turn on the EXP. And now that the EXP is on, we need to make sure that we are on the right setting for our word clock. So macro MMC should be the setting that we're on when we're using the EXP as the primary clock. So it is selected. You can, if it's not, you can use the rotary and press it in until you get to the right setting. So now that we're on macro MMC, we can see it's green, showing us that it is in sync, and we're set to 44.1 kilohertz, which is what our session's set to, and it's also what the Apollo is set to, as well as set to external. So it means that the Apollo is looking for an external clock source. And you can see on the front of the Apollo unit, we have a white EXT illuminated, showing us that they do have a secure connection. So everything is connected right between our interface and our expander. So now let's look at our preamps. So to connect the preamps to the EXP, we'll take a TRS cable and go from the TRS out of our first preamp, the B12A, to the N1 of the expander. And we'll take our second TRS cable, plug it into the B173, and then we'll go to our input 2 on the expander. And now that we've connected our external preamps to the EXP, let's take a look in Studio One, and I'll show you how to make sure that we have our I/O set correctly in there to receive the audio into our DAW from the Apollo and the expander. All right, so now that we're in Studio One, I made 2 tracks, one called B12A and one called B73, which correlate to our 2 preamps. And what we'll do is make sure that we have our inputs and outputs set correctly to utilize the Revolution EXP's I/O. So to do that, we'll go to the I/O settings in Studio One and make sure that we have 2 inputs, which I've made already to save a little bit of time. And our input 1 will be ADAT I on the input side of the Apollo, as well as input 2 on ADAT II of the Apollo. So that means that the EXP's sending its ADAT out to the Apollo, and we're grabbing it on the DAW side from Apollo ADAT 1 and 2. So now that we've made sure that we have our inputs set up correctly in our I/O, we'll go test it out. So my B12A, I have my guitar plugged into the high Z input on the B12A, and we can see that we're getting signal. And I'll just go ahead and switch my input to the B173 just to ensure that we have signal. And now that I've switched the input to the B173, we can go ahead and arm that, and we can see that we have signal. So that's a quick overview on connecting external preamps to your existing audio interface using the Revolution EXP. If there's any other questions that you have or any other videos that you would like to see from us on the EXP or any of our other products, please let us know and we'll be sure to get to it. Thanks.